Hello, my name is Mr. Asprey and I'm going to do another speed run. I'm going to try and get this paper done in under 35 minutes and hopefully get 100%. I've not looked at the paper. I'm just going to do it blind. If I make some mistakes, then I will correct them at the end when I mark the paper. Hopefully I won't. And this paper is, as you can see, it's from 2023 in the summer and it's paper 1H. Okay, and before we get started, just a little plug for my revision session that's coming up this weekend on Sunday, the 11th of May. I've done 2 predicted papers and you can get access to them by signing up, and then I'm going to go over them live and you get loads of videos and written solutions and all that good stuff. So check that out, link in the description. Okay, right, I will start the timer and we will get cracking once I've just figured out how to do it. And we are good to go. Okay, so 23 questions. You've got ratios and 12. Simon scored 12 more than Arjun. So Simon is 5 and Arjun is 2. So they have a difference of 3. So 3 shares is equal to 12. So obviously 1 share is equal to 4. Work out the number of goals scored by CAF. So that's 8. So it's 8 times 4, which is 32. Okay, Bosch, let's go. It says estimate the total number of minutes Abby spent walking. Okay, so we have to do midpoint times frequency. And just to save time, I'm just going to do all of that on the calculator, then add them all up. So it'll be 15 is the midpoint multiplied by 5, plus the next one is 45 multiplied by 6, plus 75 multiplied by 8, plus 105 multiplied by 9, plus 135 multiplied by 2. Okay, so that's just the total. It's not asking for the mean, so that is everything we need. And let's move on. Okay, so we've got notebooks, 60 notebooks, and it costs a total of that. Okay, so if we divide that by 60, that will give us how much one notebook cost. That could be helpful. £13 or whatever it is. Then she sells 70% of the notebooks for 22 each. Okay, so 60 of them was you want 70 of the 60 notebooks times by 70% and then times by 22. That's how much you're going to get. For those ones, and then the remaining would be 30% of 60 and times that by 19 and then add those together, and that will give us the amount that she has made. So 60, and there was 30% of those lots, times that by 19. Okay, so that's how much money they've made. And then if we take this money minus the amount that she bought them for, and then divided by that, that's going to give us the percentage profits. So we will minus 780, we will divide by 780, and then we'll multiply by 100. It's to 3 significant figures, so I'd expect a number which needs to be rounded, which this one does. And I think that is good. Okay, right, so we've got triangle A has been translated to give triangle B. Work out the value of D, E and F. Okay, so to get from here to here, we need to add on 13, and then in the Y, we need to add on 10. So that's the transformation that we need to do. So, this one is a y coordinate, so you need to add 10 to get D. So D is equal to minus 5 plus 10, which is equal to 5. Okay, and minus 3 to E, again that's another y coordinate, so you've got to add 10. So E will be minus 3 plus 10, which is 7. And then F to 2, we need to go backwards. So F plus 13 will equal 2. So F must have been minus 11. Okay, I think that's that done. Okay, so now we've got this shape. Maybe just to zoom out a little bit to give us more space. Describe the single transformation that maps P onto Q. Well, it's an enlargement, it's got bigger. You can see this line here has been multiplied by 3, so it's a scale factor of 3. And then we also need to find the centre, so we need to draw lines back to find the centre. So I'm going through these points, lining them up, and it's clearly this point is the centre. So what we have to say is we have to say enlargement, we have to say scale factor 3, and we have to say centre is at the coordinate 0, 2. On the grid above, rotate, oh no, P 90 degrees clockwise about 3, 5. Oh gosh. This is not what I was looking, not ideal. So 3, 5 is here. And then I'm rotating it 90 degrees clockwise. Right, I'd definitely be using a tracing paper to do this, but that to there, rotate 90 degree gets me to there. This down to here, rotate 90 degrees gets me to here. This all the way down to here is 3, so go 3 90 degrees gets me to there. Okay, and then we need, what was the other point we've not done? We've not done this point, which rotated 90 degrees would take me to here, to right there, like that. So I believe those are the new coordinates. So I draw that there, that there, that there, and that there. And that is a 90 degree rotation, and that was really hard to do on a computer. I think that is good. Label it R. We're going to have to go with it. Find out if that is right at the end. Okay, so I can see a right angle triangle, so I'm just going to draw a line across, and I'm just going to work out that red line because I'm going to use Pythagoras to do it, and it's going to be 7.2 squared plus 5.4 squared. So that's 9. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's helpful because that means that's 9, which means, and this is 6, so it's a rectangle. So the perimeter, we don't need you anymore, the perimeter is just simply 6 plus 9 plus 6 plus 7.2 plus 5.4. And it doesn't ask us to round because we've got a very clean number there, so it's just 33.6. Job done. Okay, so 2 to the 3 is 8. C to the 4 to the 3 is 12. D to the 7 to the 3 is 21. So D to the 21. Okay, so anything to the power 0 is 1. Times by 5 is just 5. Here we can take out a 4. We can also take out an a squared, and we can also take out a b, which would leave 4b squared plus 5a. Always check inside the bracket to see if there are any factors, which there are not, which is good. Okay, so two numbers that time together to make 22, minus 22 are plus 11 and minus 2. That does the job, they add to make 9. To solve that equal to 0, we're going to get x equals minus 11 and x equals 2. Perfect. Oh, not enough graph. Okay, find the inequalities that define R. Okay, so this line right here is that's x is equal to 1, but we want to be to the left of that line or equal to, so less than or equal to 1. This is a y is equal to minus 2. We want to be above it, so y is greater than or equal to minus 2. And this line here has a y-intercept of 4, and it has a gradient of, for every 1 you go across, you need to go up 2. So 1 across up 2, so it's got a gradient of 2. So it's y is equal to 2x plus 4. Now we need to be below that, so therefore this needs to be less than or equal to, like so. Write that as a product of prime factors. Okay, so that would be 30 and 10. So 3 and 10, 2 and 5, those are prime, and then 2 and 5. So we've got 2 2s, and we've got a 3, and we've got 2 5s. Find the lowest common multiple between 5a and 7b. Well, if this was 5a, which times it by 5, and so which means we're going to get another 5, so 5 squared, and 7b, we need to times that by 7, which means we're just going to get times by 7 there. So writing them out in power form is going to be easier. So 2 to the 3 times 3 squared times 5 squared, and then 2 to the squared times 3 3's there are there, and then there's a 5, and then there's a 7. So the LCM is the highest power of every number there is. So 2 to the 3, 3 to the 3, 5 to the 2, and there is a 7, so it has to be 7 as well. Okay, so solve this simultaneous equation. We're just going to times the bottom one. We're going to keep this one the same, and then we're going to times the bottom one by 3 to get 21x plus 9y is equal to 24. We're going to subtract. So 21x minus 2x is 19x, and 24 minus 14.5 is 9.5. So that is going to be, that's a half, isn't it? Yes, perfect. Always good to get a nice clean number like that. So if x is a half, then let's read off this one. 2x's is just 1, because x is a half. So therefore 9y is equal to 13.5, and that is 1.5, I believe, but I'll just check so I don't want to make a mistake, but yeah, it is 1.5. So x is 0.5, y is 1.5. Perfect. I think you just have to, like, yeah, no, that's fine, perfect. Find the interquartile range. They are in order. I really hope they're in order. Yes, they are. There's 15 of them. So if we do 16 divided by 2, add 1 to 15 gives you 16, divide by 2, 8th, so the 8th one is the one in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the one in the middle. And then we need the middle of the lower quartile, which I could just eyeball and see that that's clearly in the middle of these guys. And then over here, this one's in the middle of the upper section. So the interquartile range is 25 minus 15, which is 10. Find dy by dx, 12x squared plus 2x minus 20. Find the x coordinates of the find the x coordinates of the points on C where the gradient is 4. Okay, fine. So the gradient function is what we just worked out by differentiating. We want that to equal 4. So we're going to then move it all over to one side so that equals 0. So take 4 from both sides. We can divide by 2, like so. We're going to need to factorize that. So the a times by the c gives us minus 72, and the b is equal to 1. So the two numbers that we are looking for, so two numbers that times together to minus 72 and add together to 1 are minus 9 and plus 8. And then all we need to do is divide by 6, so we can divide this bracket by 3, like so, and this bracket over here by 2, and overall that is dividing the whole thing by 6. That is the way that I factorise. If you want more tips about how to do that, check out my video on factorising. I think that's right. Yeah, it just says the x coordinates as well, so we're good to go. We're good to go. If it's wrong, we'll check it at the end, but I don't think it is. Use the graph to find the estimate for the median height. There are 50, so the median happens at 25. Go along, come down. Oh no. Come down, make sure you draw your lines on as well, because it does say use the graph. So that is 28. Also check the scale. Make sure it is actually 28, which is good. Use the graph to find the frequency in the class interval between 30 and 40. Okay, so we go up to 30 and across, so that, and then we go up to 40 and across. So this is 44 and this is 30, so the gap between them is 40. It's 14, sorry, so there's 14 people in between those 2 points. Use the graph to find an estimate for the number of plants with a height greater than 35. Okay, fine, so we go up to 35, go across, that's 38, so the people above that, there are 12, so the answer is 12. Okay, cracking. Okay, got those 2 points. Finally, creating a straight line. Don't mind if I do. So we take the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which is going to give us minus 60 over 24, which is the same as minus 10 over 4, which is the same as minus 5 over 2. And then we'll do y is equal to mx plus c. We'll sub in one of the points. Let's pick this one. So 12 for y, minus 5 over 2 times by minus 5 plus c. So 12 is equal to, what's that, 25 over 2 plus c, which happens to be 25 over 2 is 12.5. So c is therefore equal to minus 0.5. So we can say that y is equal to minus 5 over 2, which is the same as 2.5. Let's just keep it all in decimals, like so. So I believe that is the right answer. Okay. Oh, nearly missed that one out. Factorise this. So this is going to be a difference of 2 squares. But first we've got to take out a 2 to get 25g squared minus 9. So that's 2. And then difference of 2 squares tells us that it's 5g plus 3. And 5g minus 3. And that is factorised. Okay. These are all powers of 2. So it's 2 to the half, because it's the square root, divided by 2 cubed is 8, which then needs to be cubed. And 2 to the 4 is 16, which then needs to be raised to the power of 3 over 2. Okay, tricky. So that's 2 to the half. We could turn it into a times by flipping the fraction over. But let's do this together. So 4 times 3 over 2 is the same as 6. Yes. So that's going to get flipped and go on the top. And then doing this one, 3 times 3 is 9. So that's 2 to the 9. Okay, now when we divide here, we subtract the powers. So 6 minus 9 is minus 3. And then we're timesing, we add the powers, so we get a half minus 3 is minus 2.5. I think that's right. I don't have time to check it though. So right, we want 4% of this. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's 4%. Is 4 over 100, and that's what 4% means. Of means times 4.5, and then times 10 to the 157. Okay, so if we're dividing by 100, that's the same as dividing by 10 to the 2. And when we do 10 to the 157 divided by 10 to the 2, overall that will give us 10 to the 155, because we subtract the power, the 2 there. And then all I need to do now is just do the 4 times by the 4.5. That gives us 18. Oh, fine. But that's not standard form, because we need to divide this by 10, which means we need to times this one by 10, which adds a power to it to balance it out, because we have to have it in the form between 1 and 10. 18 is too big. Okay, so the Venn diagram here shows a universal set. The numbers and letters represent the numbers of elements. Okay, so given that the number of elements in the union of A and B is equal to 42, find x. So the union is all of this. So I just need to do 9 plus 5 plus 3 plus 7 plus 12 to get 36. So x is equal to 42 minus 36, which is equal to 6. Find the number of elements that are not in A. Okay, so the ones that are not in A, there are 12, 7, 10 and 7. Those are not in A. So that is 12 plus 7 plus 10 plus 7, which is 36. And then the intersection between not in B and C. So they have to not be in B and they must be in C. So who are not in B and are in C? Just these two. So that's 15 in total. Okay, what value of x must be excluded from the domain of G? Well, we can't have 2x minus 5 equaling 0 because we can't divide by 0. So therefore, that means 2.5 needs to be excluded. Solve G of h of x is equal to 1. Okay, so that means that h needs to go into G. So I need to write G out, but when I come up with an x, like here, I need to replace that with h of x. So like this, and that's equal to 1. Okay, so just multiply through by that denominator, and we're timesing it by 1, so it's just going to remain the same. We can add the 5 over to get 16. We can also divide by 2, and that leaves us with the bracket of x squared plus 4. So you add the 5, then divide by 2. So we get that 8 is equal to x squared plus 4. Minus the 4 gives us x squared is equal to 4. So x is equal to plus minus 2. Just double check though. Right, it says that x needs to be greater than 0 in order to go into G, into H. So I suspect that the answer is just x equals 2. We must not use the minus 2. I think that's right. Okay, incomplete histogram. That is not what you want to see. How are we going to do this then? So 0 to 5, 5 to 15, and 15 to 30 are all taken. Wow, this seems harsh. This is difficult. Panic, don't panic. Right, 140 people. Okay, fine. So let's figure out all the people that are not in the table already. So that's 85 in these. So these two need to add to 85, and those two represent these two blocks. Let's call this x, 2x, 3x, 4x. That gap down the bottom is 10. So we'll do 10 times by the height, which is 2.5x, plus this gap down here is 15 times by the height of that block, which is 4x, and that should equal the area inside the two blocks, which needs to be added up to 85. So this is 25x plus 60x is equal to 85. Well, that's 85x is equal to 85, so x is equal to 1. Okay. Great. So that means that that's 25 and that's 60, because those were the two values, 25x and 60x. So we need to complete the table and the histogram. We've done the table, now we just need to complete the histogram by drawing. So this is 23, so it's going to be 5 times something will equal 23. So 23 divided by 5 is 4.6. So 4.6 would be here, because remember again that x is 1, so that's going to be 4.6. It's going to be there. The next one is 18, and 18 needs to be divided by 10 because the width of that class is 10. So that gives us 9 over 5, which is 1.8. So 1.8 would go here, and it would go across to 40. And then the last one is 14 divided by a width of 20, which is 0.7, which would go here. And that was a real time killer there. And I think that's correct, and we're good to go. Oh no, vectors. Okay, don't panic. A to n. Right, so first off, M is the midpoint of OA, and O to M is A, so therefore this is also A, because that's the midpoint, so it's the same on either side. It says that O to N is 1, then N to B is 5, so that there is 5B. Okay, and now it says find A to N. So for A to N, we are going to go minus 2A plus B. So minus 2A plus B. Then it says use a vector method to find APPN. Okay, so we've got to use the old vector cross here. Okay, so first off, let's do the blue. So the blue is going to be A to N. We know A to N, so we'll just go straight to A to P. So A to P is going to be lambda, so a fraction of A to N, which is this one. Okay, great. Now let's do the same for the yellow line. So for the yellow line, we first need to work out M to B, which is minus A and then plus 6B. We can then say that M to P is a fraction of that, and we'll use mu as our second fraction, and then that will allow us to then get A to P. So for A to P, we're going to go minus A and then plus MP. So minus A plus MP is this thing here that we just wrote down. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so now we can expand out each of these and write them equal to each other. So it's minus 2 lambda A plus lambda B, that's this one over here, and that's going to equal this one, which is minus A minus mu A and then plus 6 mu B. Okay, great. Now we're just going to equate the A's, because the A's must be the same on either side. So minus 2 lambda will equal minus 1 minus mu. That's all the A's there are on each side. And then we also need to equate the B's, because the B's need to be the same on each side, which tells us that lambda is equal to 6 mu. Okay. Now I'm going to times this one by 6, because that's going to give me 6 mu, because I know 6 mu is equal to lambda. So I can rewrite this now as minus lambda, like so. So this is just a set of simultaneous equations that I'm solving. Again, I'm doing it just by multiplying the top one by 6, and then I'm going to substitute out this 6 mu, because I know that 6 mu is lambda. That will then mean that I can move the 6 to this side, and I can add the 12 lambda to that side. So 12 plus minus 1 is going to give us 11. Or minus 1 plus 12 is going to give us 11. So lambda is equal to 6 over 11. And lambda is exactly what I need, because lambda was the ratio of the first line I drew, which was the blue line. So that is 6 over 11, which means that's 5 over 11, which means the answer for the ratio is 6 to 5. Okay. I've got loads of videos on vectors if you want to see me do that method loads more times. Okay, the sum of the first 80 terms of a sequence is equal to this. So that means that S80 is equal to 80 over 2, 2 lots of A, plus n minus 1 will be 80 minus 1 times by D, and that's equal to 470. The 75th term is 14.5. Okay, so that means the 75th term is A plus 74D, and that's equal to 14.5. And then it says the sum of the first x terms is equal to that, find the value of that. So we need to solve these two equations simultaneously. So taking this one, I'm going to multiply it through by, I'm going to do 40, so 80 divided by 2, 2a plus 79d is equal to this. I'm then going to just do 470 divided by 40, which is going to get rid of the 40 on that side, and it's going to give me 11.75. I'm then going to come around here with this one, and I'm going to double it. So 2a plus 148d is equal to 29. And now I can subtract these two equations because the a's have lined up. So 148 minus 79 is 69. And then 29 minus 11.75 is 17.25. So divide that by 69 and that will give us a quarter. So that means that D is equal to a quarter. Brilliant. And now we can solve for A. I'm just going to go for this one right here, because that says that A plus 74 times by D, which is a quarter, is equal to 14.5. So if we do a quarter times by 74, that gives us 18.5. So A is equal to, A plus 18.5 is equal to 14.5. So A is equal to 14.5 minus 18.5, which is of course minus 4. Okay, now we can look at this where it says that the sum of the first x is equal to 171. Okay, so the sum of the first x terms is going to be x over 2, again using this formula, 2a, which is minus 4, plus n minus 1, so x minus 1, times by the difference, and we're told that's equal to 171. So first step, times both sides by 2. So that gives me x, and I'll sort that bracket out in a second, and this will give me 342. Okay, so what's going on in this bracket? That says 2 times minus 4, which is minus 8. This is an x minus 1 times a quarter, so we're going to get a quarter x, and we're also going to get minus a quarter. Okay, so we've got minus 8 minus a quarter. It's going to be minus 8.25, and then we've got plus a quarter x, like so. I hate the way they've done an x like a capital X, like that. Anyway, minus 8.25x plus a quarter x squared is equal to 342. We're going to times everything by 4 to get rid of that quarter. So 8.25 times 4 is 33. Yes. A quarter times by 4 is obviously just 1. And then don't forget to times this by 4 as well. Okay, and then we'll bring that over to this side, so it's all equal to 0. Okay, I'm speed running, and that looks a bit too tricky to factorize, so I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to cheat. Shh, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone, don't tell anyone. 57 and minus 24. So we say x minus 57, x plus 24 is equal to 0. So x must equal 57 because it must be positive, it can't be negative, because it's a position in a sequence. Whew. Okay, job done. Okay, so a curve has this equation. There is only one turning point, and it is at that. Write down the coordinates of the turning point with this equation. So that means it's shifted 4 to the right, so 10, 5. This means that the x coordinate is been times by a third. So 2, 5. Oh no, I've seen this question before. It's an absolute beast. Oh no, gosh. Maybe 35 minutes was optimistic. Okay, right. What we're going to do is we're going to go here and here. And we are going to say this is 72 because we know that it's a pentagon. So there are 5 of these triangles that I could draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 72 degrees. The pentagon has side length 8. Okay, so if I just draw a line down here and then a line across, that's going to be 4 on that side. And this angle is actually going to be 36. I'm just going to split it in half, like so. So therefore I can work out this radius r here, and I can do that using sine of 36 is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So r is equal to 4 over sine 36. Okay, so we could do 4 over sine 36, and that gives us 6.81. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's now look at. So we know that. Let's look at the triangle. Let's do the triangle. Okay. So let's just do the triangle. The triangle here is a half AB sine C. Both the two sides that are flanking the angle of 72 are 6.81. So it'll be 6.81 times by 6.81 and then times by sine of 72. Okay, so this will give us the triangle, which, we could do a half times by 6.81 squared times by sine of 72, and this is going to give us 22.05. Okay, now let's look at the sector. So this is all of this stuff here, the whole sector, not just the triangle but the whole sector. So the sector is the angle over 360 times by the area of the circle, which is going to be this, like so. Okay, so 72 over 360 multiplied by pi and then multiplied by 6.81 squared. Okay, and that sector is 29.4. Okay, so now if we had, so we know the whole pentagon now, so we know all inside the pentagon, and we also know okay, actually, if we do the shaded area is going to be the whole circle, so the whole circle minus the pentagon plus the inner circle. And that's going to equal the unshaded area, which is the pentagon minus the inner circle. Okay, so the whole circle minus the pentagon will give us these little bits on the outside. And then if we add the inner circle as well, that gives us all the shaded. And that's going to equal the unshaded, which is the whole pentagon minus this inner circle. Okay. So the whole circle is going to be 5 sectors. So let's take the sector and just times it by 5. So that's just the whole circle. Probably didn't need to work out the sector, I could have just worked out the whole circle, but anyway, it is what it is. The pentagon is 5 of these triangles, because that's a triangle, that's a triangle, that's a triangle, that's a triangle. They cover the whole pentagon. Brilliant. So the pentagon is 5 triangles, which is 22.05 times by 5. So that's 110.25. Inner circle, we don't know yet. Let's call it X. Pentagon, again, is 110.25. And inner circle, we don't know yet. Let's just call it X. Okay, right, we can solve this equation. We can put the 2x on that side. We can add the x. Whoops. Don't panic. We can add the x over. And on this side, we have 145.69 minus 110.25. So we have there 35.44. Okay, so then we could do 110.25 minus that previous answer. So we get 2x is equal to this. So x is equal to, divide that by 2. Okay, and remember that x is the inner circle, and the question is asking us to find the radius of the small circle. So if x is the inner circle, we know it's equal to pi r squared, because it's a circle. So to find the radius, we need to just take this number, which was our area, divide it by pi, and then square root. Gosh, what a question. Okay, great. We get 3.45. Okay, I might be off by a decimal place or something because I did lots of bad rounding there, but I was rushing. Oh my gosh. Okay, okay, this is the last question at least. A frustum is made by removing a small square-based pyramid from a larger square-based pyramid as shown in the diagram. The height of the small pyramid is 15 and the height of the large pyramid is 45. The square base of the large pyramid has a side length of 39. Okay, work out the total surface area of the frustum. Okay, so low-hanging fruit here. The base is obviously 100 and 1,521. Now let's focus in on the fact that this square at the top is a similar square to this one, and because the cone is similar, the cone is a third of the height, so each length will be a third, so therefore this will be 13 and this will be 13, so the area of that will be 169. So we have this and we have 169. And in fact, that should differ by a factor of 3 squared, which is 9, which it does. Perfect. Okay, so now we just need these 4 sides of this pyramid. So let's just look then solely at this large triangle here. Oops. And then let's draw a line directly down it, like so. And then also let's draw a line directly down to the center, which we know will be 45. And then let's draw a line out to across to that point there, which we know will be half of 39, so that will be 19.5. So let's just get rid of this, it makes it even more confusing. Okay, good, so we can work out this slanted height here, let's call it h, because that will be the square root of 45 squared plus 19.5 squared. So 45 squared plus 19.5 squared, and so that gives us that h is equal to 49.04. Okay, right, so we can get rid of this now. And that height, just so it's nice and clear, is this perpendicular height. It's the height going straight up of that triangle. So if I wanted to work out the area of this large triangle, then all I need to do is a half times base times by perpendicular height, like so. So that is the perpendicular height times by 39 and then multiplied by a half. And that gives us this. Okay, but we need to take away this green triangle. Now again, it's a similar shape, so all the sides differ by a factor of 3. So the area will differ by a factor of 3 squared. So that's the area scale factor. So if I want to find the green triangle, then I just need to do the larger one divided by 3 squared. So I'll just do divided by 3 squared. So that gives us 106.2. So the frustum area, this blue area, which is the bit which we're actually looking for, because it's the big triangle minus the small one, will just be 956.3 minus 106.2. We're then going to need to times that by 4 because there are 4 of them, and then we're going to have to add on the base and the bit at the top. Okay, so let's do that then. Let's do 956.3 minus that previous answer. Let's times that by 4, and then let's add 169 and add 1521 to get an answer to the nearest whole number of 5090. And that is a wrap. Job done. And that is 4630, I think. 4630. Oh my gosh, I was aiming for 35. Oh. Okay. Maybe I need to reassess my expectations. Well, let's go check to see if I made any mistakes. Okay, I'm back, and before I reveal the score that I got, just a quick reminder that I do live revision sessions during exam periods. Check it out, link in the description. I create my own predicted papers, which I then go through live. Check that out, link in the description. And now for the result. And I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. Unfortunately, I made 2 mistakes and I've only achieved 97%. No! Okay, let's go through them, and I'm sure that if you watch the whole video, you're probably screaming at me when I made the mistakes, and it was right at the start for one of them. For some reason, when I was translating this point, I picked this point, which is not the corresponding point. Of course it's not, silly Billy. It is actually this one which we need to look at. So we are needing to do these two. So not what I've done here, which is f plus 13 equals 2. It should have been f plus 13 equals 9. And therefore, that would give me that f would have equaled minus 4. Which, just a little sense check, looks like it should be right. But I didn't have time to sense check it. And that's where you make mistakes. Okay, right, on to the next one. And this one was with the factorising, which is not great from me. Again, just rushed this too much. I was looking for 2 numbers that times to make minus 72 and added to make 1. Right, sorry, I was looking for 2 numbers that times to make minus 72 and added to make 1. And of course, those numbers are positive 9 and negative 8. Whereas I did it the other way round. and that has cost me. So this should be in positive 9. Whoops. Come on. Oh, fine, I used the rubber. This should be positive 9. And this one here should have been negative 8, like so. And then what we need to do is divide through, oh, okay, well this just becomes positive 3. I did the dividing absolutely fine. And this one becomes, when I divide that by 2, that becomes minus 4. So the final answer should have been x is equal to minus 3 over 2. And here, even here I got this wrong anyway, because I divided by 4 when I should have been dividing by 3. Silly. So that should be 5 over 3. 4 over 3, sorry. And there you have it. So that cost me 2 marks. The one before cost me 1, 97. Not particularly happy with that. It was a tough paper though, I thought, particularly those 2 questions at the end. That circle pentagon question, really tough. Hope you enjoyed that and learned something along the way. And if you want to see me doing more of these, then just hit the like button, comment and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.